What's up, guys? Part-time Gamer Dad here, and today I'm giving you my predictions for SummerSlam 2025. I worked out this morning. It's the first time I've worked out since we moved to this house, so I'm feeling jazzed. And it's not even morning anymore. I'm just like coming off of a good day, really good energy. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with a match that is pretty well talked about in the mainstream media and also from a more hardcore or maybe even a casual fan standpoint, because one of the competitors is having an issue getting to SummerSlam. However, I've heard from rumors that supposedly this has been resolved. But we have a tag team match of Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton and a celebrity tag team partner in Jelly Roll. Now, listen, I love Jelly Roll. I'm a big fan of Brandon Lake. Brandon Lake and Jelly Roll did Hard Fought Hallelujah. And so he's and there's so many other things, right? I think he's just a good quality guy. But this match, it's kind of a bummer. There's other guys that you could fit into that position on the card. It's just a bummer that we have a celebrity taking it away. I'm hoping to be proven wrong. I'm hoping that Jelly Roll crushes it, and he seems like he really cares about the business. So there is a really good chance that this ends up being a sleeper on the card. But this match as a production, as a presentation, isn't going to be anything special. I really feel like it's just there to have a big name like Jelly Roll, somebody who appeals to the mainstream media and thereby more eyes on the product in Jelly Roll. So with all that being said, we kind of know how these things run. We kind of know how WWE feels about Drew McIntyre right now and his position on the card. I don't think we're going to see him get a world title by the end of the year unless for some reason he were to defeat John Cena. So with all this being said, I have Randy Orton and Jelly Roll to defeat Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. I'm kind of hoping Drew McIntyre could get the win, preferably over Randy Orton with a Claymore. I know that Randy Orton defeated Drew McIntyre at Saturday Night's main event. I really disagreed with that outcome, and I know it's on me for picking the more unlikely winner. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, WWE is going to do what they're going to do. So, and I really feel like you're bringing in Jelly Roll for a big win in front of the crowd. So, let's give that to Jelly Roll and Randy Orton. And just in case I haven't mentioned it yet, this is night 1 predictions. We will also do a separate video for night 2 predictions coming out tomorrow. So make sure you keep your eyes out for that video. Next up, we have the WWE Women's Championship, the defending champ, Tiffany Stratton, against the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill. Now, Jade Cargill, it just makes sense that she would win, right? Because Tiffany Stratton's been going on this tear. She's had the title for about 8 months at this point. Had that huge win over Charlotte at WrestleMania and has just been on a tear. She just defeated Trish Stratus. I feel like, though, that there's kind of this unresolved storyline between Naomi and Jade Cargill. However, I also feel like we could be building to a crown jewel match between Jade and Naomi to like really just solidify that this is done. Everybody might treat Evolution as like the blow off, but I've really got this weird feeling that we're not done. Even though Naomi said we're done, I feel like we're not done, because also we still need to get Bianca and Jade, and then eventually down the road, the triple threat between Naomi, Jade, and Bianca. But I am going to give this one to Jade. I feel like that's probably the time they want to pull the trigger. They see a lot in Jade. Tiffany Stratton will continue to win more titles throughout her career. She's very young. She's a huge star. It kind of reminds me a lot of Rhea Ripley. Now, Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton totally on opposite levels, or different levels, rather. That Rhea Ripley's up here. Tiffany Stratton's not quite there, but she's got a lot of time to develop herself in a really positive way and be a huge star for many years to come. I think right now is the time you got to pull the trigger on Jade Cargill. Otherwise, when do you pull the trigger on her? And also because when we think about what Jade Cargill's career has looked like up to this point, this is like the really first big, like major PLE singles match for a title. So this would be a really great way to really give her a stamp of approval by the company, especially after coming here from AEW with such a long winning streak. So all that being said, I'm going to pick Jade Cargill to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam Night 1. Speaking of pulling the trigger, we have Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, where the loser has to admit to the winner that they were right and that I was wrong, basically. So here's the issue with this. It really feels like a match set up for Sami Zayn to win and Karrion Kross to lose, but I really hope they don't go that route, because Karrion Kross really needs to have a launching off point. And if he says, I was wrong, you were right, Sami, that totally destroys his character. Whereas Sami Zayn could use some of that character development within himself, and it's easier for him, very similar to Daniel Bryan when he joined the Wyatt family back in 2014. It's really easy to kind of shift Sami to being like, no, you were right, here's the dark side, and then at the very last minute going, you know what, no, screw the dark side, I'm going to be a good guy. That's more reasonable than saying, hey, Karrion Kross, you're now like a good guy or have the good guy perspective. So I'm going to predict, we'll see. Sami Zayn, I said, should lose to Karrion Kross at King of the Ring. However, they were in Saudi Arabia, so maybe that was the reason he won. And then Karrion Kross did defeat Sami Zayn on a Raw a couple of weeks ago. So I feel like even though I know I'm really painting myself into a corner here by making this decision, I am going to go with Karrion Kross to win so that he doesn't have to admit to Sami Zayn that he was wrong, and also so that we protect his character while also adding a layer of interest to Sami Zayn that is kind of missing right now. Let's talk women's tag team titles. The Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez going against friends? Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Listen, Charlotte Flair has been very interesting when pairing with Alexa Bliss. I find this to be a very fun storyline. I don't know how much I can buy into them beating the Judgment Day right now, especially because Judgment Day has all the titles. So it's just kind of weird if you took them away, especially because then that would cause some friction between Raquel and Roxanne. So I'm going to go with Raquel and Roxanne to retain. But man, I could see, this is one of my lowest confidence matches to predict. I could see Charlotte and Alexa winning, but I think what we're going to get, and I heard this from someone else, and I think it's a great point, the victory is not in winning the titles. The victory is in the friendship. It's very much like Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane. I'm talking about Daniel Bryan a lot on this prediction video. It's really like those two. If we can get these two people to become friends and then to go after the tag team titles or to go after singles titles and cheer each other on or to just like feud with somebody else, I think there's a lot of power in that. So for this particular match, I'm going to have Raquel and Roxanne to retain, and I think they might retain and hold on to those titles for quite some time, maybe until Liv comes back, or Liv might be the one to convince Raquel to betray Roxanne, and then we have kind of a true fracture of Judgment Day, which I think we might be getting to anyways. But for this particular match, Judgment Day to retain. Next up, we have Braun and Bronson, attorneys at law, against OG Bloodline, Cousins, main event, Jey Uso, the right-hand man to the OTC, the tribal chief. This whole, OTC number one thing, I'm not buying it, barely buying OTC. But the tribal chief, yes, absolutely. So Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, accompanied by Paul Heyman. This one feels weird. This whole show feels weird. Seth being injured feels weird. I don't know. He still has the Money in the Bank contract. I don't know. What makes the most sense? It makes the most sense for Braun and Bronson to win because they need the win. But it also makes a lot of sense that Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns, so Roman Reigns wins, Jey Uso wins. You want to talk about the one I have lowest confidence on? It's this match. I actually think night 2 is more predictable than night 1, so I'm more excited for night 1. But I would say for this match, I mean, you kind of got to consider, like, where do you go from here? You could have, if Seth is actually healthy, I could see the swerve being that Seth cashes in on Gunther and Punk, so then it would make sense for Braun and Bronson to lose, kind of demoralize the group, all for Seth to come back and get the win. But this is also Roman's first match back since, like, what, WrestleMania? So we're going to say I'm going to go for Roman and Jey to win the match. But man, I really want to pull for Braun and Bronson, and I'm going to. Like, if they win, I'm totally okay with being wrong about this. But I just have this really bad feeling that Roman and Jey are going to win and then kind of be like, haha, we defeated you. And then maybe Seth's group, that faction, will get some retaliation by being able to help Seth win the World Championship at the end of the night. Which leaves our main event, CM Punk, my boy and yours, against the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, the man who retired Goldberg, the man who's rumored to retire John Cena, could potentially retire CM Punk. Obviously, he's not going to. CM Punk's going to be around for many, many years to come. By the way, have you seen that Netflix series about WWE where everybody wanted to pick CM Punk to win the Rumble? Should have happened. I love Jay, but Punk should have won the Rumble and actually main evented WrestleMania. But I digress. With this match, oh man, it's another one. It's another one. It feels weird, right? There's just like this air. It's kind of thick. You can't cut through it with the knife quite yet, but it's getting there. It's getting to the point where it's like, how do you get out of this predicament of highlighting the fact that Punk shouldn't lose back-to-back world championships matches, like at huge PLEs, but you also can't really can't jeopardize your huge heel in Gunther right now, and who just had a great like career-defining moment in retiring Goldberg, clean, might I add. Ooh, this one's rough. This one's hard, but I am going to go Gunther with the exception of maybe Seth cashes in. I would love to see Seth cash in on Cody and John, but that's not going to happen, at least not at SummerSlam. So I have Gunther to retain by some shady means, but I don't want Gunther. Gunther's the guy you don't want to be winning matches by cheating. I can accept it for John Cena because it makes sense. He's doing what he has to do to kind of go out with a bang for, the end of his career. Gunther's still early on, and he is known to be a guy who is just the final boss of WWE. He's the new Brock Lesnar. He's the new Triple H. He doesn't need help. And so it's interesting to see where this goes. I'd love to see Punk win. Punk is one of those guys who's just near and dear to my heart for many, many years. And I would love to see him win another world championship. I just don't think it's right now. I think if you were going to have him win, you do have Seth cash in, and then you have CM Punk take it off of him at WrestleMania, unless Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble next year, this is what I think would be great. Seth Rollins wins the title. He carries it all the way to WrestleMania. Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia next year, and then he main events WrestleMania, wins that world title. He's been talking about not winning. But I'm fantasy booking at this point. This match, in the way this show ends, Gunther CM Punk, unless they're going to have Roman and Jay main event, which I don't think they are, Gunther defeats CM Punk. Perhaps CM Punk just doesn't tap out and passes out, very similar to Goldberg. So guys, those are my predictions for SummerSlam 2025 Night 1. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comments below your predictions for SummerSlam 2025 Night 1, and I will see you for Night 2 predictions tomorrow.